Hey, what's going guys? Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm very happy to announce my first gumroad product. And it is basically about a procedurally generated mountain range. And as you can see, it looks pretty great in my opinion. And it is completely procedural, meaning you can change the seat, the size, the smoothness, and everything like that. And it is made using geometry nodes. You can even make further changes if you would like. And I think that many people will find this very helpful for their projects. Secondly, this is all of this is completely free of charge, so you can just head over to the Gumroad. I will give a link in the description and then download it from over there. So as you can see here, you can change almost everything you can imagine from the grid size. If I can just firstly, I think I should reduce the resolution so I can showcase it better. So you can change it to 20, or you can change it to 5, or any desired number you like. I'll change it back to 10. You can change the height from over here. You can change the resolution as I just did over here. You can change the smoothness, so how smooth are the mountains. For example, for this I will have to increase the resolution a bit. As you can see here, there are some lines. They are the peak lines, you could say. Yes, I'm talking about these. Wait, what? Yes, just a second. Yes, I'm talking about these lines. So as you can see here, they are pretty sharp right now, but using the smoothness, you can just smooth them out. And yeah, if I just go back, and as you can see, here's a water plane side. As you can see, there isn't a water plane over here, but you can enable it by going over to the geometry node setup, which we'll be getting to in a second. Now you can change the size from over here if you just don't want to change the grid size, but just the size, and of course different seeds, and all of them give a very great result. Now once you have all of that out of the way, let's move towards the geometry node set. So I will go over here and switch this window to the geometry node editor. As you can see here, it looks pretty intimidating, at least for me when I was creating it. But yeah, in the end it gave a very nice result. So this is the water plane I was talking about. To just enable it, just select these 4 nodes, press M to enable them. And now as you can see here, there is the water plane. And if we switch our window to back over to the properties tab, and now we can change the plane's height, just like so. And this is also dynamically and its size is also dynamic with the and changes accordingly to the size of the terrain. So if I just increase the grid size, as you can see here, the water plane also the size of the water plane also increases, which I think is pretty nice. So heading over to the geometry node setup again. So let's just get started. I don't even know where to start, to be honest, but yeah, let's just start from the beginning. First you have a grid, and basically this grid is just a simple grid, and I've just connected it to the group input so I can edit it from the properties tab. And then what happened was I joined the geometry with the water plane, so it looked like this. Of course now there are only 2 planes because till now none of the displacement was happening. So after that I used the set position node, and this is where the base terrain came into play. So for the base terrain, if I just go over here, what it basically is a Warner texture. As you can see, it just adds a little bit of bumps, you could say, a noise texture for extra for enhancing the bumpy effect, you could say, and the main noise texture, which is the main noise texture for the base terrain. So yeah, what is happening is we have got this subtract node, which is connected to the noise texture, and it is being subtracted by the value of 0.610. If I just change it to 1, as you can see, it just gets rid of the effect. So it is basically a value for the bumpiness of the bumpy parts, you could say. If I just lower it, would get to 0.4. We are pretty much more bumpy, and it will kind of give a hill-like result. And after that I'm multiplying it, the Warner texture I'm multiplying it, so you can get a much nicer result and much more prominent result, as you can see here. And I'm multiplying both of these values, so I'm multiplying the Warner texture, noise texture, and I'm just multiplying the subtract math node and the multiply math node together. Next up we are using the blur attribute node, which is basically just smoothing some things out, as you can see here. And basically what I'm doing is using the combine XYZ node to just a second to only tell Blender that hey, just make the displacement on the z-axis, so only in this part and not in the x-axis or in the y-axis. Otherwise it will go all over the way. So this is a really important note. Now, yeah, after that it is all being connected to over here in the set position node. And that is it for the base train. That's how the base train was created. Let me just get rid of all of these lines, and just like so. Now let me just, I would say, yeah, Control Z to get it back into the position that it was. Yeah. Now let's move towards the mountains, and this is where the real magic happens. Now it is mainly just two nodes, which is the Warner texture and the noise texture. So if we just disable this, wait, just a second. Yeah, first we need to delete this, and as you can see, this is where the real magic happens. First, if I just get rid of the Warner texture, I would say that most of the effect is gone, as the Warner texture is responsible for creating these sharp lines and kind of like high mountain range lines, you could say. I'm talking about these. This is all done by the Warner texture, and the extra details are done by the noise texture. So if I just disable the noise texture, as you can see, it also gets rid of the effect because they are being multiplied together. If I just, yeah, so first of all, it is not being multiplied together directly. First of all, the Warner texture is ran through a blur attribute node. This is where the smoothness is being controlled, and after that there's a color ramp, but to showcase its purpose, I have to disable the water plane first. Yeah. Now as you can see here, if I just disable the color ramp, as you can see here, there were some artifacts happening. I don't know if you can see it right now, but yeah, I don't think so they are that visible right now, but there are actually many artifacts happening in these areas, in the valleys, you could say. So this was just to make them more balanced out and to make a much more smooth transition towards the let me just showcase how the Warner texture works. Why is it like this? Never mind. Yeah, so basically the Warner texture is really sharp, so there's a very sharp decline in this, so it declines to a very sharp point over here, and this color ramp is just to make it much more smooth out and just to smooth it out. So yeah, I would say that because of the extra details, it is not that much prominent, but this is quite important. After that, both of these is, first of all, these and this is being multiplied over here. Oh sorry, this multiply node is for the base train and the mountains, so they both are being multiplied, and so both of them are being taken place. After that, we are multiplying this whole part, this and the base terrain, with the noise texture using the multiply node, and of course the combine XYZ node. As you discussed before, it is responsible for telling Blender that hey, do not just extrude or displace the effect in the z-axis and not in the x or y-axis, otherwise, as I mentioned, it will go all around. So once you have that out of the way, let's move towards some of the extra details. The extra details is I would say pretty simple and pretty straightforward, and let me just go back and just to make it as it was before. Yes, there we go. Now as you can see, the extra details is basically just a multiplication node combined with the Musgrave texture, and it is just scaled to a very high value, and we are just being multiplied by using the combine XYZ, and this is like a controller for the height of it, you could say. And then we have the set position node, and then you group output. Now let's discuss a bit about that, how the procedural settings work. First of all, I'll just get rid of this because I don't really like this, to be honest. So now the different seed is, how is different seed working? It is quite simple. I've just added a connection point by using shift and holding right click, so you can add a connection point like this. Let me just, yeah. So what is happening is this seed is being connected to all of the W value or of the noise textures, as you can see here. Not just the noise texture, but all of the textures. It includes the Musgrave texture, the noise textures, and the Warner textures. and I've used the snap value, so it increments to a 1 value, and I've changed the seed value to an integer, which can be done by over here going to the seed, selecting the type to integer, and I think it was something else, I'm not sure before, but yeah, I just changed it to integer, so it is like 1, 2 and 3, and not like 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, and so you can get really nice results. Now for the size, it is quite simple as well, but a little bit more complicated comparatively. So what is happening is, of course, I've connected into the group input. First I used a value node, but I changed it to into a math node, so I can actually connect it into the group input. So I've again added in a connection point, and what is happening is I've added in added a math node set to add, and I've connected it to the scale of all of the textures, so they could be scaled accordingly. So as you can see, the value is right now is 0, but let's take an example of the first one, which is being connected to which is being connected to this noise texture. So so first I went through all of the textures, and I set a value that I thought looked the best, and then I put the value in this, and then I connected to each appropriate texture. So for this 0.4 and also for this 0.4, but I could have kept it the same, but I just changed it a bit. For this I added in the add to this, added the 0.8 value to the Warner texture, and 0.1 value to, I believe, this texture. Yes, so you get the point. So this is how everything works. The water plane, I forgot to explain it. It is basically a grid using a set position node. You can change the height of it, and using the combine XYZ node. And I've also added in a set material node, so you can set a material to your liking. And yeah, I've also set a set material node over here, but I think it doesn't really make a difference if it's here, but I think I should keep it in the last. So yeah, I say that we have discussed pretty much everything that went into creating this whole scene, this whole geometry node setup, and I hope you have learned something new, and you would actually benefit from this whole node setup and this whole geometry node setup. Again, just a reminder, please make sure to check out the Gumroad down in the description. And just a announcement I wanted to make, I'm actually working on a game, and it is coming to an end. So I will also give a link into the description for its community, so please make sure to check it out, and I would really appreciate it. I would make a more in-depth video on the game next time. Until then, I will see you around later.